4-year-old reveals father's secret at school. Then teacher rushes to her phone and demands answers. Sharing is caring, as the old saying states. The story of Nancy Bleur is the perfect example to prove that angels live among us and helping others is truly what matters. Her story seems far-fetched, but it proves how a 4-year-old kid's heart and screams for help can make people share whatever they got. It all began in an unusual day in the kindergarten where teacher Nancy Bleur was working. Her commitment and actions will surely melt your heart. It was an unusual day in Manson City, where preschool teacher Nancy Bleur was working, trying to provide everything for her students, as she was very passionate and devoted to her work. Everything was following the normal routine when Nancy noticed something strange. One of her students, 4-year-old Camden, wasn't his usual self. Camden was a cheerful and social child who was never a problem for the teacher, but the last few days his behavior changed dramatically. Little Camden was acting in a very antisocial way, something that made Nancy seek for answers. He stopped playing with other kids and getting distracted very easily. The previously very social Camden now spent the majority of his time alone. Clearly, something was up. But what was it? Nancy decides to take action. After having noticed Camden's behavior, she decided to talk to him and make him share with her what his problems were. If Nancy wasn't as good and caring teacher as she is, she would have never been able to make little Camden talk. After a little talk, they too had the little boy spoke and made Nancy's heart melt. The boy's father was very sick. There seemed to be something seriously wrong with his father's health that Camden's mind couldn't comprehend and made him anxious and desperate for help. After he explained to his teacher as much as he could about his father's health, Nancy rushed to the phone to call his father and learn more about what was troubling little Camden's mind. 34-year-old Daryl Peterson, father of Camden, was indeed seriously sick, as he was diagnosed with IgA nephropathy, also known as Berger's disease, which occurs when abnormal levels of the antibody IgA immunoglobulin raise in the kidneys, causing them to malfunction and tissue-damaging inflammation. What followed the diagnosis made the little boy's mind panic. After some months, Daryl's kidneys started to malfunction seriously and ultimately reached full kidney failure only 1 year after his diagnosis. He was hospitalized immediately in Manson City and, as his doctor suggested, began dialysis treatments. The only functioning cure for him was a kidney transplant, but despite being placed on a waiting list at the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, his time was running out as he needed the transplant immediately to avoid worsening his situation and risking his life. Nancy was shocked, and seeing the little boy be terrified and desperate for help and unable to manage the situation, she realized that she had to take action. Nancy tried to help the family as much as she could, but what she did is unimaginable. You may believe that she offered them money or even tried to help the household with groceries, chores, and babysitting. What she did goes well beyond that. I had a coworker who, years ago, had donated a kidney to someone in her church, Nancy said. It was an important part of her life's journey, and that was inspirational to me. When I heard about Daryl and Camden's situation, it just felt like the right thing to do. But kidney transplants aren't that simple, and the family and teacher, despite all the good intentions, had to check if she was a match for transplant, and her medical history allowed such procedure. For the good fortune of everyone, Nancy was a perfect match. I was really excited about it. I was ecstatic. I don't know what I would have done for closure if I wasn't a match, she stated later. Things started to look up for Camden, but there were a lot of things to be taken care of. Nancy had to fulfill some required paperwork and do a number of checks like blood tests and urinalysis, CAT and EKG exams. She also took psychological counseling to confirm that her mental and emotional state was prepared to be a kidney donor, and in order for the doctors to be 100% sure that there wouldn't be any problems with the transplant operation. Miraculously, Nancy passed all the tests and she was ready to give the little boy's father a second chance in life. Camden's family was obviously shocked. There aren't many people that could have ever offered something like this to them, and they tried to thank Nancy as much as they could. Days before the procedure, they decided to visit her at school with flowers and say thank you in every way imaginable. I had friends and family come forward who wanted to donate, but these didn't work out for medical reasons or other reasons, Daryl said later. Then Miss Nancy approached me. After getting praised and thanked by the family and the local community, Nancy said the last goodbyes and drove to the hospital for the procedure to finally be completed. Daryl later said that he was unsure and concerned about Nancy's health, but she was determined and ready to risk it all. Nancy was taken care of by the best transplant surgeons the state of Iowa had to offer. People Alan Reed, MD, Zoe Stewart Lewis, MD, PhD, and Daniel Katz, MD, who assured that the operation was a huge success. The surgeon and nurses was really supportive and positive about the operation, calming both Nancy and Daryl. You could tell that every person wanted to be there for you, Daryl says. The family was overwhelmed by Nancy's generosity and rushed to hug and kiss her when she exited the hospital. They promised that they'll always be a second family to her and support her however they could, as what she was offered them was invaluable. Camden was ecstatic. He was seeing his daddy healthy and full of energy after a long time, and he couldn't hide his happiness. He took his turn to thank Miss Nancy with his way and promised to be the best student she ever have. The family, though, had a few more things to do. Daryl and Nancy decided to take action and raise awareness about the importance of organ donation and try to call attention to the University of Iowa Transplant Center team. The news station thankfully covered the whole story and hopefully helped to raise awareness. Nancy, Daryl, and even little Camden had a lot to say and a lot of interviews to give. Daryl's story speaks for real values of caring, selfless help to people, and commitment of individuals like Nancy. How do you ever thank someone for saving your life? Daryl asks. She really is an amazing woman.